Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the last day regarding this course and the final episode of this course. Last week we were speaking about the rights and the responsibilities of husband and wife. Regarding that also is about defining the roles and what party should do what to enhance the unity and to enhance the harmony between themselves, so that this journey can be fulfilled with ease and with happiness and with tranquility. So it is important that every person knows their role and knows what they have to do to accomplish that. This is why it's important that one understands what they have to do in acquiring that goal. So defining the role, the equality of men and women as human beings have been divinely ordained. Equitability between them is legally protected in the Sharia. So basically both men and women are equal, and that has been ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and has been protected by the Sharia. So both of them are equal in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One is not senior than other in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only in terms of taqwa. But in terms of actually fulfilling and this goal of acquiring peace and tranquility, then obviously the responsibilities are slightly different, and due to that one may have to do one and another will have to do another. So that I spoke about regarding last week, about what rights and who has what responsibility. An institute is run efficiently when the roles and activities of its units are well defined. Allah designed males and female with their inherent differences for a divine and enduring purpose. These are physical, psychological, emotional, and psychological differences between men and women. These functional differences are essential for the existence and continuation of human race. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a responsibility to man, to which it makes him the responsible person over the women. Now that is due to some reason which Allah He Himself describes in the Quran, that بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. It is due to the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes some people a greater degree than upon others, and that again is something which Allah has given, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is out of His wisdom that He makes somebody a higher degree in terms of responsibility than others. So this has been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this responsibility for man to be responsible over the women. So this is not something which it has been mutually, or something that husband and wife get together and they kind of come to an agreement that you're going to have this responsibility. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through divine ruling, that He has given that responsibility to man. He has given that. So a woman cannot say, okay, no, I'm the person in charge. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is given the responsibility, and that is the reason, because of that responsibility Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is given, that is why He has made man like that. He has made man more muscular, He has made man more mature, not mature, but made man in such where he can fulfill the roles of that responsibility. So within that sphere of that responsibility, he has to meet other people, he has to go and earn sustenance, and all these things entail a person to go outside, meet other people, to resolve issues and acquire necessities, etc., etc. Whereas a woman, because a woman doesn't have that, is not in need of that. The husband is always has the duty of feeding the wife, and women never has the responsibility of providing for herself, unless in very rare instances, because a female until the age of marriage, it is the responsibility of the father to provide for that woman. After the marriage, it is the responsibility of the husband to provide for the woman. So at any stage, or at no stage, the responsibility of providing for herself is on her shoulders. So this is why she is not in need of going outside to interact with others for that matter. So Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he has given that responsibility to man, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created man in that way. That is why you see man, normally they are more muscular, they are more bigger, they have this macho-ness in them, whereas women are more timid, and their body and etc. is not such to cater for that need. So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the responsibility over women is being given to the man because of that. And also a second reason, وَبِمَا أَنْفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالٍ, because they spend from their wealth upon them. Now the person who is spending the wealth, he obviously, by naturally would have the responsibility of how that should be spent. But one should not assume that, okay, if the woman is spending her wealth upon the husband, so for that reason she should then have the right to make judgment in the normal affairs of the house. No, because وَبِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَهُ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that is the main criteria, that is the main reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the responsibility, not the woman. So even if the woman is spending her wealth, for example, the husband for some instance has lost his job, he doesn't have the money, and so now the wife is using her money to help the family, then it doesn't mean that now she will then start to make all the judgment calls in relating to the affairs of the family. No, still that judgment and that responsibility will still lie in the hands of the husband, because what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, and that is an inherent responsibility given to man. So that is very important that one understands, no matter what is happening in the house, the responsibility of making the judgment should lie in the hands of the husband or in the hands of the father, so that peace and harmony can flourish and this tranquility can be maintained. Otherwise, if one doesn't understand and they always are head on, trying to make decision and not accepting each other's decision, then there's always going to be disunity, there's always going to be friction. So if one party understands, no, this is the party that needs to make the judgment, and I accept whatever judgment that party makes, then there will be peace and harmony. And that is natural. That's why in every institution or in every social, mechanism, there is always a hierarchy, there's always somebody to make a decision. Otherwise, people will be just quarreling with each other. That's why you have a prime minister, that's why you have a head of an organization, so that somebody has to make a judgment when there is a difference of opinion or there is some sort of disunity, so that there is a point where everybody can come together upon somebody and all the disunity can be eradicated. So this is why the Quran says الرجال قوامون على النساء, that one should understand that man has the responsibility over women, hence all the decision will be made through him. Yes, it is important that that the husband does not unilaterally make all decisions without even consulting the wife. That is totally wrong. And this is why Prophet ﷺ would make mashwara, would make consultation with his sahabas and with his companions. Whereas he was not in need of making any he wasn't in need of making any consultation with his companions, because he was getting direct revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was getting direct guidance from Rasulullah, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hence all his instruction was coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there was no need of making consultation. But the Quran says about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that they washawirhum fil amr, that Allah He Himself commands Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to make mashwara, to make consultation with his sahabas and with his companions. So it is for that reason that the husband should not unilaterally just make all decisions by himself, but should take advice and should seek advice from the other half, from the wife, and also if they have children, mature children, who are able to make sound judgments, to make mashwara with them when it's relating to family affairs, so that there is mutual respect for each other, so that there is peace and harmony, so that there is a respect is being maintained, and every person understands that that the head of the family is not disrespecting anybody. And when a person does that, then the peace and harmony will always be preserved. So it's important that although the judgment will be made by the head of the family, but still the head of the family should always make consultation with the family, and if and only if there is a reason, an overriding reason, where the husband needs to make a spontaneous decision and not consult with the family, then he has the right to do it. But normally this should be consulted and come to a decision after consultation. The normal sphere of activity for men, like I said, that because the role of the man is to provide sustenance and provide daily bread, his affairs will be mainly related to external, and it will be outside the house. So that responsibility and dealing with the outside matters should be the realm of the husband, of the father, and he should maintain that, and he should do diligently, and he should not have any slackness in that. And so that the internal affairs, which is the sphere of the activity of the woman, she should not basically pick up the slack of the husband. Hence, then what will happen is that there will be slackness within that sphere of the internal affairs of the house, and that will again breed disunity and disharmony. If the husband is not fulfilling that, then somebody has to pull that weight. So if the wife is fulfilling that role and then she has to fulfill that, then that will bring undue burden upon the wife, and that can then breed animosity, and that could breed disunity and disharmony again, which will then become an obstacle in fulfilling that goal, which is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that will only be achieved if there is unity and harmony between the family. So that is why one should understand that the internal activities and the internal affairs should be, and especially the home, what I'm talking about, that should be run by the wife. And also Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that a woman should always stay at home. So naturally a woman would do the things at home and not do things outside. Otherwise Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have allowed that, or would have advised women to stay at home. Even the Quran says, وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى. That Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that they should stay inside the house. وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى. And when they do leave the house for any necessity, they should not leave the house in the state of the women of the Jahiliyyah, of the women of the ignorance. In that state, the women of the ignorance, women of the Jahiliyyah used to go out without maintaining hijab and not maintaining all the etiquettes of going out. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering the wives of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is in turn telling all the wives of the Muslim Ummah that this is how you should respect and fulfill the etiquette. That first of all, you should stay at home. So much so, praying salat at home for a woman is better than praying salat in the masjid. Prophet ﷺ said that the best place for a woman to perform her salah is in the house. And the best place in the house is in the room. And the best place in the room is the darkest part. So that is the best place for the woman to perform her salah. So hijab is always better for the women, and this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that وَقَرْنَ فِي بِيُوتِكُنَّ, that telling the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that they should stay at home. So the sphere and the activity of the woman should be confined normally to the house. When she has a breadwinner, then she should stay in that and only leave the house when there is a dire need to, not just for the sake of going out and just going out to enjoy, etc. If there's a need, then it should be done with a mahram. Go out with somebody whom marriage is not permissible, like son, husband, and mahram. Then it is okay. Otherwise, Prophet ﷺ said, when a woman goes out, the shaitan goes and looks out for that woman, and then induces other men to look at that woman, and that causes fitna, that causes trouble, that causes problem. So that is why Prophet ﷺ has told us that women, and the Quran also says that women should stay at home and adhere to the activities of the home, maintaining the home in terms of cleaning the home and in terms of providing meals and etc. All these things should be done for women, and the men should provide for the women, should provide for all his subordinates, even his children, and any aspect of the outside life should be maintained by the husband. So, like I said, hijab is very important for the woman, and hijab doesn't just mean about covering the body. It also means in how they interact with each other, how they talk to each other. Again, when the Sahaba would ask something from the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what did Allah say? فَاسْأَلُوهُنَّ مِنْ وَرَاءِ حِجَابٍ, that you should ask them from behind the hijab, behind the curtains, and should not speak to them in a very soft manner so that they get somehow induced or somehow likened towards them, but should speak firmly with anybody if they have to. So all these things is telling us that the hijab is not just about covering the satar, covering the bodily part. It's also about how we interact with each other. When we are talking to any other غير محرم, when we are talking to the other men, that we should not be flirting with them. We should not be chit-chatting and somehow they get any sort of unwanted indications or something like that. So this is all wrong. Also, when women, when sisters go out, they should also, when they're covering, it doesn't mean that they wear such clothes that the clothes itself they bring attraction. Nowadays, they wear hijab, they wear clothes, but the ibaya and the clothes that wear are so tight that the purpose of the hijab is not fulfilled. That the projections and of the body and the bits that that goes in and out, all is being shown. So that clothes is totally haram. And at the same time, nowadays you get such abayas that are so glittery and glamorous that instead of taking away the attraction, which is the whole point, that bringing unwanted attraction. People start looking at them. And nowadays you see women doing modeling in them. So the whole point of that is to stop unwanted attraction. Unwanted attraction, so that fitna can be kept at bay, so that trouble and shaitan can be kept away from this situation. So that's why it's very important that we understand that. Now, obviously, when husband and wife live together, any people live together, there's sometime now and then there's going to be disagreement. There's going to be disagreement. But it's important that we understand how to resolve these disagreements. So that is why it's very important that we understand how to manage our disagreements and how to resolve them. In any group activity where individuals are interacting with each other constantly, differences and conflicts are bound to occur, which is a natural happening due to the fact that husband and wife, when they live with each other, and any people when they live with each other, because every human is individual and every human is unique, so they will have different way of thinking, they will have different way of understanding. Hence, this will create a difference of understanding and difference of opinion. So this can lead to misunderstanding. This could lead to arguments. So how to resolve this? Again, the Quran has explained. In the Quran has explained this. First of all, the tools to help in a conflict management strategy. How to resolve management, the conflict. First of all, both parties should understand that we need to adhere to the Quranic teachings and to the teaching of the Hadith and of the teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If it's possible, then we should have patience. If one party can have patience, then this itself will resolve major conflicts, many of the conflicts that happens. This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if any man has patience over his wife, upon the misgivings of his wife, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him the reward of the reward that was given to Hazrat Ayyub alayhi salam upon the sabr that he had. And if any woman has patience upon the misgivings of the husband, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give her the same reward equivalent to what was given to Hazrat Asiya alayhi salam, the wife of Fir'aun. So, first of all, one should have abundance of patience and perseverance. If a person has that, then this itself, in many instances, would resolve many of the issues. And also, Prophet ﷺ said is that, especially for man should always, because of having that responsibility and having the extra power, should be more lenient toward the wife, and should show more patience, because man has the power to take what he can from the wife because of normally having the ability in terms of strength and in terms of body structure, whereas a woman doesn't have that. So this is why Prophet ﷺ said that a man should be more lenient and have more patience towards that. This is why Prophet ﷺ, he showed that patience. So much so that never at any point did the wives of Rasulullah ﷺ fear that Prophet ﷺ was going to admonish them physically. Never. Once they had a disagreement. Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha and Prophet ﷺ, they had a disagreement. So okay, let's call a hakam, let's call an arbitrator. He said, okay. So we'll call your father, Abu Quhafa Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala. Yes, call him. So Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu came and said, who should speak first? Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, who should speak first? Hazrat Aisha said, okay, you speak first, but only speak the truth. Who's saying this? Hazrat Aisha Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anha is saying that to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You said, but you only speak the truth. Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala got very angry and slapped his daughter. And she started bleeding. And what did she do? She quickly went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hid behind Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fearing that the father was going to hit him more. So she knew that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would never hit her. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would never hit her. So instead of, going to, or, staying away, she went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for help. And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Abu Bakr, I didn't call you to do this. We had a disagreement. You come here to solve it, not come and hit her. So this is the best form of akhlaq. That to always have such akhlaq that the wife should never ever fear that there can be any sort of punishment. And this is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that the best of all people are those who are the most have the most best akhlaq to their wives, and I have the best akhlaq to my wives. So this is the akhlaq that we should have. But obviously, if differences happen, then what does the Quran say? وَاللَّاتِي تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ فَعِظُوهُنَّ وَاهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ فَلَا تَبْغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا. That the Quran says that وَاللَّاتِي تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ, that from the women, if you fear nushuz and if you fear disobedience, then what should you do? First and foremost, فَعِظُوهُنَّ, you should admonish them. You should admonish them. Tell them that this is wrong, this is not right, you should do this. This is the thing that you should do. You should not at first instance become so harsh on them. No, this is not what the Quran says. فَعِظُوهُنَّ, to give nasiha. To give nasiha, wow. We say there's a wa'az today. What does that mean? Advice. There's going to be a talk today. Advice. You should advise them. Tell them what is right and wrong. That what they are doing is wrong, which is not. This is not right. So that is the first step one should do. فَعِظُوهُنَّ. Okay. If that's not possible, and still there you see there is no improvement, وَهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. Then one should abstain from the bed with her. Not totally leave the house, but just leave the bed. Go to another room and sleep there. Go to another room and sleep there, so that the wife understands that the husband is angry. And from 1 night to 3 nights, one husband should stay away. But if it's a dini matter, then the husband can stay away for 30 nights. And this is from the tradition of this is from the actual of the doing of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That once Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent a gift to Zainab radiallahu ta'ala anha, and Zainab radiallahu ta'ala anha refused the gift. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had many wives, so he used to spend each night a different wife. So the wife that he was spending his night with, she said, "Oh, she disrespect you. Look what she did. She disrespect you and causing more trouble." And Prophet ﷺ got angry because of this, and for 1 whole month he stayed away from all wives. From all wives he stayed away for 1 whole month. So this goes to show, for dealing matter, you're allowed to stay away from the wife 1 month. But if it's a worldly matter, you told your wife to do something, for example, you had guests coming in, told your wife to prepare something, she decided not to. So to show you displeasure, you can stay away from your wife for 3 nights. Not from the house, but from the room. From the same room that you share the bed with. You can stay away 3 nights. But for dealing matter, you can stay away for 1 whole month. فَعِظُوهُنَّ وَاهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ. And if that doesn't work, if that doesn't bring any changes, if that does not bring any improvement, when you leave the bed of the wife, then وَاهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ. Then you can admonish them. You know, a very, should I say, a symbolic, physical correction, as they say. It cannot be, the physical admonition cannot be such where there is any sort of bleeding or any bruising. You cannot hit on the face. Prophet ﷺ has totally has disapproved that. But, you know, just so, you know, maybe a slight slap on the back, something like that, to show how this, you are, to show your disapproval, and to show your unhappiness with her. But even then, that should be abstained. Prophet ﷺ never ever hit his own wives. Although its permissibility is there, but Prophet ﷺ never did. And at the beginning, Prophet ﷺ totally disapproved it and totally prohibited it. And then when the Sahabas complained, oh, now they are totally disregarding us, and totally don't want to listen to us, then Prophet ﷺ allowed it. Once Sahabi came to Prophet ﷺ with her father, stating that her husband slapped her. The Prophet ﷺ said, okay, you go back to her husband and slap him as hard as he slapped her. So the father and the daughter going back, going to take revenge. Okay, Prophet ﷺ gave permission. And at that time, the revelation came down. And this is the revelation came down, saying the permissibility of the husband slapping. And Prophet ﷺ sent a messenger, said, stopped him, said no, he had a right to slap. But when you do this kind of physical admonishing, it shouldn't be such where there is any bruising, any bleeding, or hitting on the face. Nobody has the right to bruise anybody or break the bones or anything. So bruising anybody, nobody has one, apart from the state. Islamic State, they can. When they hit the lashes, obviously you're going to see bruises. Only the state can do that. Even a father cannot bruise his own children. No father has the right to hit the child on the face. No father has the right to hit the children so much that the bruise happens. So if you get a stick, whack, whack, obviously you're going to bruise. If you slap them on the back, slap them on the bum, or something like that, that's not going to bruise. Depending on your strength. If someone's got so much strength and slaps them so hard and there's a bruise, then that's a different thing. So that is the second. And فَاحْضُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ. If after doing all that, if they listen and they come back, you know, and they adhere to your saying and they come back to you, then فَلَا تَبْغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا. Then do not look for any path of grievance upon them. Meaning, don't start looking for faults and everything or causing them. Just forget. Now they've come back. Now they've tried to listen. Now they do what they're telling you. Now you forget about the past. You don't look for any mishaps or look for any faults or look for any sort of grievance so that you can bring up the flare again and bring up the problem again. No, that shouldn't be done. But if after all this still is not happening, then the Quran says you can وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا فَابْعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. That if after all this is still not happening, then each party should bring a representative, an arbitrator. فَبَعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. So the arbitrator should come from the wife's side, and the arbitrator should come from the husband's side. And both of the arbitrators should be such that they should have sincerity in them, and they should want the best for them. Not that, okay, you're gonna fight for my corner, and you're gonna fight for my corner, you're gonna do this and do. No. Both of them in their hearts should have this kind of فَبَعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ.
Do you have permission for them to spread food now, otherwise it will be cold?
Yeah, it's time to start. We need to finish it. Tell them to start putting it away. Inshallah.
Start.
Yeah. So فَبَعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا إِنْ يُرِيدَ إِصْلَاحًا يُوَفِّقِ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا. That the representatives and the arbitrators should have this intention of creating harmony, and this will show in how they diffuse the situation. Once Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu sent an arbitrator for a husband and wife that had some problem, and the arbitrator came back and said, "Oh, I couldn't solve the problem." Husband Umar got his stick out and whacked him one. Saying the Quran says, "In yurida islahi yuwaffiq Allah baynahuma." You know, you must have the right intention. You didn't have the right intention, that's why the problem wasn't solved. And he hit him one, and he went back, and he went with the right intention. And he goes, "Oh, it's problem solved now." See, that's the problem. Your attitude towards the problem wasn't correct. So this is why it's important that the Quran says that in yurida islahi yuwaffiq Allah baynahuma. If they have the right attitude, if they have the right intention, and they want to solve the problem, then yuwaffiq Allah baynahum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resolve and bring peace and unity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to practice what we say. As you all probably know, that there is an invitation from one of the brothers for Aqiqah here of his son, and so he's invited everybody who's attending the course as well to partake in this barakah and this blessing. So sisters and brothers alike are requested to participate in this, inshallah. Questions? Or?
Maybe afterwards, inshallah. If there is any.
If there's any questions, then what do we do?
They can get in touch through me. So.
Yeah, inshallah.
Sorry, just quick one. If you can answer quickly or maybe later on. Just want to know the
reference from the Quran and Hadith, which
on the subject.
I mean, the one I just mentioned today was is in Nisa, I think chapter 4, verse 35. So that is related to arbitration and conflict management.
No, I mean the generic subject, like marriage subject,
I mean, there's many verses related to that.
So if you can mention the surahs.
The one main famous one is the one in Surah Al-Rum, verse. If I can go to.
Maybe for these kind of questions, the brother can find you personally later, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. I mean, the first one is Surah Al-Rum, which is chapter 30, verse 21, and you got chapter 4, verse 1. If you come to me, inshallah, I'll give you. It's all written here. I can give you all the.